Hello, welcome to the video again, where I'm in my room talking to you. So, first thing first, we just covered about online colleges, and we also looked at some academic courses that you can take at colleges. Alright, next video that we're going to do now is on how to study. Very, very important. If you go to colleges and you don't know how to study, you're not going to succeed. So here's how I do it. So first thing first is like when you're studying, you have to make sure that you're in a good environment. The environment must be somewhere where you can focus. So if you got a lot of distractions around you in that study area, you gotta turn it off or you gotta put it away. And that's the basics, foundations of studying. You need a very good focus area. Like me, I study in my bedroom. If I'm not studying in my bedroom, I study at church. And if I'm not studying at church, I'm studying at maybe restaurants when I'm waiting for the food. So you gotta find your thing. Or like at work. I study at work too, because it's quiet there. So if you're looking for a good place to study, look for somewhere that's usually quiet and usually is um kind of like empty. Like you wanna go for a place that just has like you and maybe some things, but no people, no like noisy devices, no maybe pets. Like they're just distractions for you. You might disagree with me on some things, but let me just tell you, for most people, these things are distractions. So it might not be for you, but it is for general populations. And I will tell you that on my own personal, I guess, experience. And that's it. So that's the first thing down. You got your quiet place to study. Next thing, um, you need to know how to study, like take notes. So we're going to go through that right now. So the way how you study, there's many ways. You can take notes on a notepad, on a notebook. You can take study notes on your laptop and phone and iPad. There's many ways to take notes. And now, how to take notes. I just write down whatever the heck on my notepad, and then I just kind of go with that. Or I write it on my phone or the laptop, and I put in a Word document or something like that. Or I put in my notes app, notes app. Yeah, notes app. So whatever works for you. I do all of it. And then the way how you write notes, it just depends on how you like it. If you want to write notes in a very neat and tidy way, you can make like a T-chart. On top, you put down the topic that you're doing, and then just put down the main points of like what is going to be the learning objectives of like that subject or the lecture. And then after that, you can put down one side is your notes, and then the other is after. It's like after all the lecture's done, you put down your reflection after the lecture, being like, you do all these things. How do you feel about what you learned? What are some reflective thoughts you have about these courses material? And then what are some things that you have in mind, like maybe a to-do list of your next steps? Like for me, I would put down stuff like, oh, um, this made me think of this, and my next step right now is I'm gonna, you know, make a to-do list of what to do next. So it's like, gotta put the assignment in, gotta, you know, um, make the projects, got to submit them in, and find my teammates, present. Like I just kind of do that. Okay, so that's how you take notes. In terms of the format, like you can use that format, or I know there's a name for it, but I don't remember what it is. But you could probably find out online. There's different ways. I learned this in college, like in Trials College, they taught us this stuff. So yeah, and highly recommend that school. Trials College in Canada, really good. I go there for a PSW program. I learned so much more than PSW, and yeah, I learned how to learn, which is very important. Okay, and the next thing is yeah, when you're studying, you also have to have hygiene. So, good routine hygiene for studying is like this. Make sure you got the basics. So, I'm going to show you something I just learned today. It's from a book by Sai. I'm not sure what his last name is. It's like, let me see if I can find it. Sai Blackburn. Sai Blackburn. He created a book, and in that book, he wrote this thing. He has many books, by the way, but this is one of his books, and he wrote down in this section 7 ways to prevent burnout while running a side hustle. It applies to studying too, because studying is kind of like a side hustle because you're doing something that's kind of like, you know, taking up your hours in a day, and sometimes it feels like a job. So, this is what he said. Exercise regularly, be productive, sleep well and eat well, make fun time, outsource when you can, and then prioritize effectively and make a routine. So what that means is like every day, you have to make sure you're exercising. That's just what it is, exercise. Be productive at your school or job. So make sure you're focused and you're actually, bringing your all in when you're doing it. So it's like, make sure you're focused, make sure you're, putting your energy in, making sure you have the effort, making sure that you're enthusiastic, all that stuff. And then sleep well and eat well is self-explanatory also. And then make time for fun. When you're studying, make sure that you have some time off where you're making, your studies fun. Like for instance, get some flashcards, get some games, get some nice apps that will help you study, get some fun ways to study by I guess, creating your own study plan by adding I guess, like a tweak of fun. So let's say make it enjoyable by putting a Tokens Academy into it. Do you know what Token Academy is? So Token Academy simply means when you do something good, you give yourself tokens in terms of whatever kinds of items or something. It could even be chocolate coins. It could be anything. And then when you have 10 chocolate coins or 10 of those items or 5 of those items, you give yourself a reward. And then every time you earn a certain amount of new items, let's say the first level you do 5, second level you do 10, third level you do 15. And it's every time you reach these milestones of 10, 5, coins or something, you give yourself a reward. So let's say the big reward, you trade in these coins, and then you give yourself the reward of, let's say, 30 minutes on TikTok. I don't know, or something. You let yourself watch one YouTube video, or you give yourself a nice dinner out, something like that, or a movie out with your spouse or something, or your brother, sister. Yeah, just do something fun. And then it will help you get motivated to keep going. And then the next step says here is outsource what you can. So this is probably the most difficult to understand. Outsourcing means delegating. Delegating means giving some task to someone else. So that means like this. For me, my task sometimes I delegate to my mom and my dad. Instead of driving myself to school or driving myself to work, I ask my parents to drive me instead, so I can go and focus on studying on the car, something like that, or doing another task. So let's say I would wake up early, I would study, I would sleep sometimes, and then when I'm in the car, I would eat my breakfast then. And then sometimes I would read my Book of Mormon and maybe read a book when in the car. So that way I can delegate driving to my parents, and then I can have more time to study and eat and do important things. And the next thing, let's see what's next. It says here, prioritize effectively. So that's self-explanatory. Make sure that you know. There's a technique called Boya. No, not Goya. I forgot what's it called. Uh-oh. It's from John Assaraf. John Assaraf is a famous guy. He creates a lot of these kind of things where he helps people get back on track, make sure that they do something called get off their Assaraf. Simply means you just start taking action. So, um, yeah. So, uh, prioritizing is kind of like you need to figure out what is important, what is urgent, and what is not important. So the things that are not important, you leave that last to do. And then to what's urgent, you do that right now. You put that as number one on your list to do right now. And then when it's just important, you put that after. So let's say if it's let's say urgent is an appointment coming up today. So you put that first on the list. Make sure you do everything you can to get that appointment done. Important would be like making sure you brush your teeth in the morning, making sure that you, I don't know, done your exercise. That's important because even if you don't do it like right away in the morning, brushing your teeth or exercise, you can do it at the end of the day. It's not as bad. But an appointment, if you miss it, you're screwed. Unless you have to like reschedule and make all that extra action. Sometimes you can't even reschedule. So that's what it means. And a not important would be like TikTok. Unless you're a TikToker and you are trying to make money off of TikTok, TikTok's not very important. And I think that a lot of people can do better without TikTok. So that's that. And the last step here is making a routine. And that's self-explanatory too. So make sure you do create a nice routine for yourself every day. I don't really have that much of a routine, but I do have some things in place that makes it kind of like a routine. So every day I don't really wake up at the same time. Sometimes I wake up at 2 in the afternoon. Sometimes I wake up like today I woke up at 1 in the morning or 1:30 in the morning and I was awake since. And I was just studying and now I'm awake and now I'm ready to go. But anyways, you gotta make a routine that works for you. Sometimes it's not like a robotic thing. Sometimes, you can change it up. Like for me, I change it up quite often. It makes it exciting. And it just has to be something that's worked for you. If some people are rigid and they like to make it rigid, you gotta be rigid. To make it work for you, you gotta be happy with your routine. I like mine to be a little more spontaneous. So sometimes I wake up at 1:30 and I just stay awake and I don't force myself to go back to sleep or lie in bed. I just kind of go like, well, I'm awake, so I'm gonna go and get ready. I'm gonna get studying and I'm gonna shower and I'm gonna do everything that I gotta do. So yeah, and today I even got a chat with my friend, which was nice. I woke up early and I got to chat with my friend, and it was a really nice chat. So yeah, I say do what you gotta do, right? Make your routine fit for you, and that's it. Once you get all these things from studying, taking notes, like getting a good study place, and then making self effective to not burn out, making sure that you got all these steps done, I think you will be good to go for your studies. And that's it for this video. I'm glad you're here, and thank you for studying. I don't know, thank you for being here, and happy studying. Ciao.